Hello and welcoming into another video out on my channel. This time I will be discussing and giving my opinion about the current trading card market as well as it over the past probably 10 years or so. So first off, let me first say I got into doing trading cards basically, I think, almost when trading cards were still relatively new. My experience in that regard was I actually, way back in my youth, actually had O-Pee-Chee. And I had the years when, like, there was the Gretzky rookies, or the Gretzky, like, 2, 3 year rookies. And so we'll say probably about the middle of the 80s was basically when I started. Merrill Lemieux rookie was around at that time as well, too. Cards were nothing fancy, it was just basically a picture on the front, stats on the back, on a plain simple stock card. And they were never really that expensive. So that was my beginning point. I didn't collect for a while. Then back into, I will say, the early to mid 90s, I actually started to get into trading cards again, except this time I actually went towards the comic book kind of art side of things because at that point in time I was really into drawing and I was really inspired by a lot of the comic artists back then for like Marvel comics, like the Kubert brothers were both amazing artists. Uh, then you look at your more artistic kind of artists as well that I got into back at that time. Texiera, uh, Boris, and his wife Julie Bell did some amazing art pieces for Marvel's, I believe it was Marvel's, the name escapes me, I'm sorry. Marvel's Marvelous or Marvel Ultimate or something like that. Basically, it was a small 120 card set. There was a few of them done by a few companies at the time. Fleer under their Ultra brand, and Skybox did some stuff. Then there's some other smaller third-party things that did like Wolverine and that. But that basically got me going through to trading cards, and eventually I kind of got into back into the sports cards around then, which was around the time Parkhurst came back into existence in the trading card scene. And at that time, the Parkhurst cards were some of the most beautifulest cards at the time. Until I would say Topps Stadium Hockey came out. You couldn't beat them for image quality, the Kodak photo paper, and so forth. You just couldn't go wrong with that stuff. Then after a while, I got out of it. I've got a few sets downstairs still of some of the older stuff. And I got out of it up until recently, just before the whole pandemic thing hit. And I kind of got back into uh, sports cards. Started out with some tops. Didn't get into much. I bought into some uh, pack breaks. Was around one specific group for a while until the owner didn't like something that I said or something, and I was removed, which is, unfortunate because I was close to the person. With that said, enough of the babbling. It's already been 6 minutes. The current state of trading cards is right now, to me, a disaster. Because basically, at the end of the day, back when I originally was doing trading cards and whatnot, I didn't look at trading cards as, you know, gold, pieces of gold. The majority of people nowadays, they pretty much look at all trading cards as, you might as well say, investing in stocks and bonds or buying gold or whatever. And so to me, I think that is one of the big reasons that the trading card business is very flawed and problematic right now. Another thing as well too is it's been awesome that companies do the whole capitalism thing and buy up other companies that might be in turmoil with the interest of keeping them around still. But again, I gotta point my finger at one company that I am not a big fan of and never really have been a big fan of, and that's Upper Deck. Upper Deck has taken on so many brands now that to me, I feel that they've actually devalued every single product that they offer in their range, especially nowadays. But even for example, we go back to looking at the original Upper Deck hockey series from 88, 89, I believe it was, the first series. All those cards in that series that have, like, I think there's probably about 10 or 20 rookies and about 10 that are actually fairly prominent uh, players that played in the NHL. You look at all those cards and you'd think, okay, for being, late 80s product and being the first, their first foray into hockey cards, you think it'd be worth money. Nope. Probably some of the cheapest cards you can get are Upper Deck. And again, I'll point out again to why this is their biggest flaw. They are simply too large of a company. They have released too much product. And the problem is just like in the case of what Gibson did to Epiphone in the musical instrument aspect, Upper Deck makes their own branded stuff premium, and everything else that's a sub brand that they've bought up and own, they make subpar products out of. So in that instance, it really makes it hard to dig their product. For example, the classic O-Pee-Chee brand, which also in the US went by Tops in regards to hockey cards, The O-Pee-Chee brand now is pretty much a joke. Back in the day, from the original producers of O-Pee-Chee, those cards with like Gretzky's, Lemieux, and so forth, those have great value. Now, under Upper Deck, you're not getting great value. You're paying you're paying a relatively low price, but there is almost no value whatsoever in it. And this is something I've seen as well too, especially with a lot of Upper Deck product. Getting an autograph in a card set used to be a big valuable thing. Now, autographs are pretty much no different than getting a regular common card, which is very sad because, again, it takes away from how special and amazing something is. Plus, on top of that, if you do actually look at trading cards as an investment, you are getting screwed over on that. Prime example of this is Upper Deck's just launched SPX brand. $200+ Canadian. A box. That's right. A box. How many cards do you get in that box? 4 cards. That's right. 4 cards. Are they anything spectacular? From the quite a few people that I follow with the trading card and sports cards YouTube channels, again, hello, keep up the good work, folks. SPX, for the money you pay, is again ridiculous, especially when it comes down to you have the chance of getting autographs, relic cards, which is basically a piece of jersey that they might have worn at some point in time in a game or in a practice or something. You got these new shadow box things, which are kind of cool, but again, you're getting some cards that basically have some premium component to them, and otherwise it's all basically gloss stock cards for most of the other cards. And the sad part is you pay that $200+ Canadian, which is probably about $150, $170 US. You get 4 cards. On average, what's the best, highest price card you would get out of your $200 investment? $20. And that even might be a signature card. Any type of autograph card, you're looking at $10 and under. So in that instance, is it worth paying $200+ for a box of cards that basically is only 4 cards in individually wrapped wrappers? Like, talk about more of the whole environmental effectiveness going on in the world. It would have been a lot simpler for Upper Deck to just simply put the 4 cards in one pack, call it a day. It would save on the box amount used. It would save on the wrapper used. Like, just pure craziness. So, again, I don't buy much Upper Deck product. Going back to what I said earlier about I do have a renewed interest in Marvel Comics trading cards. I would like to get into some of that product. But again, who owns most of the rights for Marvel stuff? Upper Deck. Someone who likes Star Wars? Well, that's not a bad thing, because who owns a lot of the Star Wars stuff? Topps. Now, Topps, I don't have too much of an issue with. I would say I would be more interested in buying a Topps product than a Upper Deck product, though. But does the value of the product change much? No. Because at the end of the day, the trading card companies are putting out too many sets and are basically devaluing the product for us, the consumer, let alone the enjoyment of the product for us, the consumer. So, for example, I like wrestling. I'm not a super big fan of WWE. Maybe some of the wrestlers in WWE, but WWE as a whole is meh. I get more enjoyment watching Impact or AEW when I do watch wrestling, if I do. That said, Topps, for example, hey, here's our new WWE trading cards. Oh, cool. And you look at the pricing's as bad as sport product, or maybe even a little bit higher. So I'll explain like my experience with the WrestleMania 2020 box that I bought last year. It's all hyped up. It's premium product. They hype it up as and make it sound like that. It's like, oh, it's the best that you can get for WWE product at Topps. You open it up. You open up your first pack and you go through your first pack of cards, and it's literally almost looks like one of the lowest grades of card paper stock that you can print on. And that's what most of their base set is. And shockingly enough, some of their inserts are printed on the same stock. There's no clear gloss on them. And they say it's a special insert. It's like, it's pretty much the same crap. Where's the value in it? So again, you get to those inserts in that series that came out that I'm referring to, the Topps 2020, WrestleMania 2020. The only nice looking thing that actually came out of that set was the parallels. They came in a chrome kind of foilishy kind of look. But here's the other thing as well too about that. It looked to be the lowest grade of chroming kind of foil that you could put on a cardstock. So it was, it's pretty and shiny, but it's almost no different than what you're actually already giving us in the packages for regular cardstock. How is it a special parallel to the set? And lastly, they did offer you the possibility of a possible autograph per box or a memorabilia patch. I bought 2 boxes. I got 2 memorabilia patches. And what were they? Congratulations on receiving your your ring used by said individual in in a WWE match. So basically, they took the ring mat cover, the canvas or whatever they use for it, and they basically cut up like a little like maybe 1.1 by 2 inch strip of that mat, put it into the card, put a window around it, and say, congratulations, you got a relic of, from, in my case, I had Kari Sane and Eric the Viking. And do I really think that the wrestling mat was used or was stood upon by those individuals? No. it To me, it just looks like basically something that they've automatically put into place and have, you know, did a whole bunch of wrestling mats or wrestling turnbuckles, and kind of did it in their WWE branding, but then they cut it all up and there's nothing special or differential about them. So it devalues the product. So with that said, I'm sitting on Upper Deck, a bunch of old Upper Deck stuff. If anyone's interested in it for shipping and a little bit of cash, get a hold of me. I'd have no problem getting rid of a lot of the Upper Deck stuff I got laying around. And I won't ask a whole lot for it because, again, Upper Deck stuff has no value. Another brand that Upper Deck owns, Victory. Super, super cheap. You buy the product and you think, oh, I'm getting such an amazing deal. It's the low cost value, and it should have, there still should be some value in it. No, it might as well be, hockey cards for little kids. Or I believe that one set that's atrocious that came out, Triple Play or something like that, which had all kinds of baseball players in a cartoon kind of style. So, am I encouraged in the trading card business or hobby? I still want to get involved with it somewhat. I still want to do it, but quite honestly, whether it's due to the current circumstances going around in the world, or, again, as I said before, too many monopoly-like companies that have one premium brand buy up a brand that might be floundering or possibly going out of business, and putting out the product at a lower value and lower quality level. It doesn't encourage me a lot. Same thing again, like I said, in regards to the Marvel Comics related trading cards. I'd be interested, but again, all the Marvel stuff is owned by Upper Deck. Even the Fleer brand is owned by Upper Deck. So Flair, which used to have some beautiful artwork and amazing cards back in the day, as well as the Flair Ultra X-Men set. Now I remember. Marvel Masterpiece is another one that was out back in the day, which had some awesome artwork on it. But again, it's all owned by Upper Deck. They all price it in the same price range as the sports product, or in fact, in some instances, more. And again, at the end of the day, you can pay $200 for a box of something and have nothing of value or in some instances, maybe even something that, doesn't really look that good. And again, getting back to my final point, there's too much crap in the market. And, you know, you put out too much stuff, and even if you put it out at cheaper values, the problem is the majority of the consumers out there nowadays are people that are not looking at it as a hobby. They're looking at it as an investment. They're looking at it as a stock to trade. So, you know, it's nothing special. There's nothing special about it. Like, I mean, it's probably a good reason why, say, the um, upper deck cart. Here's the one instance where I actually would get an upper deck product. When upper deck was doing sports cards or hockey cards for McDonald's Canada, or in recent years, uh, upper deck doing hockey cards for Tim Hortons, the Tim Hortons chain up here in Canada. And the funny part is those sets are like 100 cards, and between the special inserts and everything else, it was sad because this past year's Upper Deck Tim Hortons hockey cards actually looked better than what their actual hockey cards were that they were trying to sell to the consumer. So, just another prime example of, how bass backwards some stuff is in the trading cards. With that said, if you've actually watched all the way through to these 27 minutes of this opinion on trading cards, thank you very much again. Again, thank you very much to all the trading card individuals that I've subbed to on YouTube and have subbed to me back. Again, hopefully I'd like to do some involvement with yous, whether it be giving some cards, selling some cards, who knows. And with that said, hope everyone is well. See yous around on YouTube. Bye for now.